A Destrian Network production.
As someone who has done his Super Metroid submission, the only thing I can say to you is you're allowed a map, use it. You're allowed to play vanilla Super Metroid beforehand, use it.
Every day I'm struggling.
What?
Not again. Not again. Oh no. You stupid little fuck.
Little dog.
No, you can't kill me in the door. The train's not going.
Hashtag I did try.
Every day I'm struggling.
You're listening to The Struggle is Wheel, the premier Wheel of Struggle fancast.
With your hosts, Mr. Mattington and Garlips.
Wheel of Struggle.
So, Mr. Matt, I've been conducting some market research. Our fans seem to like episode 1, but I felt there was more that we could be bringing to the table, so these are the results of the questionnaire. They're all pretty self-explanatory, but there's still a large slice there that I can't quite pin down.
Ah, yes, I see.
There's something that a lot of people search for online that we need to be filling, a space that we need to be filling with something.
Well, I've been studying Classy a lot, and I know that clowns love cream pies. Have we thought about cream pies?
Clowns do love cream pies, and do you know what? I've seen a lot of people search for cream pies online.
Cream pies.
We'll have to give this some thought about these,
Cream pies.
Welcome, viewers. We're here, reaching the end of Season 4 of the Wheel of Struggle. It's very exciting. We're in the end days now. It's the end times.
We've finally entered the end game in what has been a wonderful season of the Wheel of Struggle. We've seen many things end up being developed, grown, just so many wonderful developments that have come from this Wheel of Struggle, including this very podcast, which you are listening to now.
It's here in front of your very eyes and your very ears.
Who would have thunk it, eh?
As someone who wasn't even involved in the Wheel of Struggle until halfway through this season, well, over halfway, I did not expect this to be happening. But you know, life leads us on a nice little walk sometimes, and sometimes that walk is through territory that you could become soft locked in, and sometimes it's smooth sailing. And we kind of had a mixture of both this week with Super Metroid Randomisers. But we'll get on to that in a moment.
Yeah.
How are you, Mr. Matt? You feeling well in yourself?
Oh, I'm in continued existence, so that's got to be something, and that has to end up counting for at least some things. Recently, I've ended up submitting 2 games to HIG, the speedrunning marathon. These 2 games are very near and dear to my heart. They are, of course, the wonderful 50 Cent Blood in the Sand, which I'm hoping to get this mad lad to do commentary for if it's accepted, this Garlips fellow. And speaking of Garlips as well, I just want to end up bringing this up, okay?
Okay.
You see, I've also got another speedrun that I end up going for, and I've ended up putting up another HIG race. I put up Sausage Hunter for the PC. It was debuted in Speed Bangers, and now the developers jacked up the price. It's definitely going to be one of those things where it's a global conspiracy to end up raising the price of Sausage Hunter to end up stopping more people from speedrunning it. It seems like I was the one who orchestrated that, but it definitely wasn't me, okay? But yeah, I've ended up putting that forward for HIG as well. That's going to be a wonderful race.
Yes, because although I've never played Sausage Hunter in my entire 35 years of continued existence, I'm looking to do so in the next couple of days. So if it does get accepted for HIG, yeah, we'll race those sausages, my friend.
Oh, we will indeed.
We'll see if it turns out the same way it did for you last time.
Oh, you want to bring that up, do you, huh?
Well, so yeah, how are you doing anyway, Garlips?
I'm fine. I spent the majority of last week editing that podcast, so hopefully this week it's going to go a lot smoother sailing. Yeah, I'm good. I did my, well, little sneaky peek for you guys. I did my Spelunky submission today, and it went rather well. It went better than expected. So I'm all smiles right now, because currently, when I close my eyes, I still see Spelunky sprites. I stared at it for 5 hours, and, well, you know, it's like, we used to play Guitar Hero back in the day, didn't we, Mr. Matt? And that as well has that very kind of, like, hypnotic, shut your eyes and you still see it kind of pattern burning on the old retinas. So we need to be careful how much we stare directly at the sprites, I think.
I think that is going to be the case. We are going to be very, very worried about Splunky and the effects that Splunking will end up having on us for the rest of our lives, you know. Difficult times to deal with the Splunky. We also ended up seeing a little bit, because you raided into 16-bit Hyper Turbo at the end of it, and you know what? That mad lad, he's done it again, hasn't he? He's only gone and played Resident Evil 1 Remake with a fight stick.
He's a legend, and every interaction I have with 16-bit is gloriously sunny, and I don't think it's just because he comes from Australia. It's just he's got a lovely personality.
He's got a massive banger moustache as well, and I can respect that. As much as I don't like moustaches on men, he's got a really good one.
And the cat ears as well.
Yep, cat ears as well. What a legend! What an absolute legend! Is there any other whilst we're bigging up other members of the wheel, is there anyone else that you want to end up bigging up for this week?
Like, it's hard to move away from the old favourites. I mean, I think Deck is a quality lad. I like 16-bit. I think Stormfeather continues to push themselves. Let me see if there's anyone else I could kind of...
Well, there's that potato-based fella, isn't there? Whose age is 84, isn't he? It's what was it? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's like Taster 84, isn't it?
No, it's Tattle.
Tattle
84.
Ah,
you were close.
I was very close.
Yeah, he's also a very, very fine lad. Had very lovely things to say about the last episode as well.
Yeah, Tater's...
You disagree?
Tater's a legend, man. Tater's a legend. Actually, I think it was one of, like... the way that I ended up going onto the Wheel of Struggle involved Tater and Cero as well, the patient Cero. They ended up getting me onto the wheel, so, you know, this is all their fault.
Did they just randomly happen into your chat while you were playing something?
Oh, no, patient Cero I've known for donkeys years now. Yeah, like, I've known him for, God, must be nearing on like 20 odd years now.
Wowzers. Okay.
Something like that, yeah. God. Just, yeah, I think it's just under 20 years at the moment.
We'll have to ask Patient Zero how they became involved with the Wheel of Struggle as well.
I think it's because he's friends in real life with the Tater.
Oh, it's a small world!
It is indeed.
And, you know, by process of literally reaching out and grabbing the hand of our next best friend, we will bring the whole world into the struggle. One person at a time.
It's going to happen. It's going to end up happening. I mean, I think I think we're going to try and set up for 6 degrees of Garlip's separation one day, where we're going to end up seeing all the links between everyone and Garlips. It's going to be wonderful.
My reach is immense.
It is. It's because, you see, Garlips is one of the good streamers on Twitch, and I'm one of the worst streamers on Twitch, so we've got to have this division between us. And the 6 degrees will end up being good for people who are associated with Garlips, but bad if you're associated with me.
But the problem is quite a lot of people on that Venn diagram now are square in the middle between both of us, so, you know.
I think we've caused a problem here. Right, so...
Moving on.
But yeah, I just want to end up giving a big shout out to everyone on the wheel who's ended up listening to last week's show. Just a massive thank you for listening, giving us feedback as well, so a massive thank you. I am hoping to avoid any tram accidents, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's early days, isn't it? We will take it each moment as we come, and hopefully we'll avoid them today.
We will, hopefully.
That leads us quite nicely on to this week's game that we're going to talk to you about. But before we talk to you about this week's game, I think it leads quite nicely to talk about this week's sponsor, which is PukeTrivia. He's changing glasses. It's to read a spiel.
I actually can't see in these, so I've got to get that. Like, I'm gonna have to put these ones over the top of these ones, and then I can see. There we go. Right. You know the situation. You're about to sit an exam and you haven't revised. You are too busy wheel struggling. But it's in 5 minutes.
Oh no!
Fear not, you silly sausage. Just pop one of these delightfully fizzy PukeTrivia tablets. Garlips here has ambiguous fruit flavour, and within 1 minute, guaranteed, you will begin puking all kinds of trivia about the thing that you need to know trivia about.
I don't feel any different. Oh. Oh no, wait a minute.
PukeTrivia is graded as up to 78% accurate and uses distilled Wikipedia to enhance the knowledge.
Oh, okay. I think I'm good. Super Metroid is an action-adventure game developed by Nintendo and Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1994. It is the third installment in the Metroid series, following the events of the Game Boy game Metroid 2: Return of Samus. Players control bounty hunter Samus Aran, who travels to Planet Zebes, Zebes, to retrieve an infant Metroid creature stolen by the space pirate leader, Ridley. Following the established gameplay model of its predecessors, Super Metroid focuses on exploration, with the player searching for power-ups used to reach previously inaccessible areas. It introduced new concepts to the series, such as the inventory screen, an auto map, and the ability to fire in all directions.
Like a champ, but this was no ordinary Super Metroid. No, this was a randomizer. We have covered randos before on the wheel, but this is our first time discussing one. So I'll do this bit. So, what exactly is a randomizer? Well, if you end up looking at the word randomizer, it's made up of the word random and appetizer, which means a small dish that ends up being before your main. That has nothing to do with what a randomizer is in terms of what a video game is, but we will end up just covering that just ever so slightly so you understand where randomizer comes from. A randomizer can end up changing any elements of a game. This can end up being usually item placement, this can be weapon placement, this can end up being enemies, it can be enemy health, it can end up being which gates or doors will lead to other locations. A randomizer can be as wacky or as mad as you like. It can end up going to just a small amount of randomization up to massive, everything is different in this game. The only things that are the same are usually the title screen. Even that can end up being randomized in a lot of cases. Character sprites can be completely different colors. The character models can end up being completely different. A randomizer can change up so much of each individual game. Each game will end up having its own sort of style of randomizer. Some will obviously not have a randomizer because it's a linear experience, but other things such as Castlevania Symphony of Night, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Super Metroid, they can all end up having efficient and effective randomizers. These are usually maintained by members of the community of massive fans of the titles. This means that they end up having a deep understanding of the game title. They end up having a deep understanding of what the logic is of the game and how each thing snaps and connects to each other so that you can end up having a randomizer that has some form of logic. Of course, you can always throw logic out of the window and just end up having a randomizer that does whatever it wants to, which is also fun. Randomizers are a great way to end up breathing new life into a game, or experiencing something that you've experienced so many times in a different way, or an even more difficult way in some cases. If you've never played a randomizer before, I would seriously end up looking up whatever game that you really enjoy and seeing if there's a randomizer already. In many cases, there's already an active randomizer community that surrounds many of your favourite titles, and they will be happy to see you in there. They are more than happy to explain so much about the game, the randomizer. They're just proud of their work. So if you do go into one of these communities, just say hello. If you've got a question, ask it. They will be more than happy to explain it or point you into an FAQ that they've ended up spending hours upon hours upon hours writing. Seriously, check out randomizers. They're great fun.
I actually had a couple of Super Metroid randomizer runners appear in my chat while I was playing, and after I quietly and carefully told a couple of them to stop telling me things about the game because, you know, they love sharing. They want to share all their information, their knowledge with people. They want that, you know, they must have seen me with my category as Super Metroid, saw that I had Randomizer in the tag, and they were just, you know, so happy to see it. And, you know, after I told them not to spoil things, they were incredibly fun and, you know, didn't give anything away. But at the same time also, one of them requested the ROM that we were using for this week's Wheel Struggle submission, because they said it was very trolly. Maybe I'm giving a little bit away here, but I think quite a few of us had a little bit of a trolly experience when it came to this week's submission.
Just a little.
Yeah, the word softlock spring to mind.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. I mean, that's just a few of the issues that one person can have while playing Super Metroid. At least both of us, I think, remembered how to wall jump.
Yeah.
Which isn't realistically, like, explained in a very specific way. It's just kind of hinted at obliquely by background kind of characters and details in the game, which I think is a really nice way to approach it, because it crosses language barriers. You know, if you're actually paying attention, you can see what they're doing and try to copy it. But as a tutorial, it's a bit rough.
The mechanic is very iffy, shall we say, to begin with. So having little characters pop up to try and show you and go, "Oh, look, it's so easy," and it's like, "Oh well, yeah." When I do that, it doesn't bloody work, does it? It doesn't quite work like that. I have to struggle and hope that it actually does end up I've pressed on the opposite side at just the right time. It's so much fun. But hopefully we've got someone who can explain like how to do a wall jump, you know.
Well, you know, far be it from me to wade in, but I am a god gamer, and so I do think I can offer some help here. I've actually prepared a little bit. It's Garlips's tutorial on how to wall jump. So come this way. I'll show you the secrets of how to wall jump. Step 1. Fuck yourself. Step 2. Approach the wall, holding the direction of the wall, and jump at the wall. Step 3. As you brush against the wall, tap and hold the opposite direction. Step 4. Press jump, and you sail away from the wall with renewed vigor. Step 5. Miss the next wall jump and fall to the bottom of the pit. Step 6, and this is the most important step and kind of ties the whole concept of wall jumping together. Go fuck yourself. Step 10, you have now mastered the wall jump. You're welcome.
It was a great segment there. You really ended up explaining everything. You left nothing on the table there.
I tried to cover it because I trust our listenership. I you know, at least with menial tasks, I think that they are, you know, they are competent. But well, you know, some of them kind of need a little bit of a push in the right direction, much like a wall jump. So we both played Super Metroid Randomizer this week. I'll talk a bit about my experience, and then Mr. Matt will talk a bit about his, and then we'll move into analysing the table and everyone else's positions therein. So, we were allowed 2 things this week, if you remember, Mr. Matt. I did mention them to you in the last podcast. I said, you're allowed to play Super Metroid Vanilla as much as you want to. And I said, you're allowed to use the map that shows all of the equipment positions on the map. I used both of these things, and as a result, I feel like my submission was probably... Well, I think... Even though my submission was better than yours, I think you would have got as good as me in half the time like you usually do if you'd allowed yourself access. I mean, I understand that time is not abundant and, you know, there are many things we have to fill our hours with. But yes, because I played Super Metroid Vanilla on my Switch, actually, the day before, and I got up to the Sunken Ship, which I only got a little bit further than the Sunken Ship when I was playing the other day. For the submission, but I've never actually completed Super Metroid. Can you believe it? Never. So I have started it a number of times, thinking, "Oh, I'll get to the end." But for me, my favourite Metroid is Metroid Fusion for the GBA, which is an exceptional title. It's really very good. And that's where I fell in love with the whole Metroidvania formula. Because at that point, when I was playing that back in, I guess, presumably 2003 or somewhere around that, I'd never played any of the Metroidvania games. I'd never played any original Metroid. I'd never played any Castlevania games. I'd never even played Symphony of the Night until the Xbox Live Arcade version.
What?
So, yeah. And now it's one of my favourite games of the entire PlayStation 1. So, I mean, you know, it's just a testament to quality. Quality stands up, and it stands the test of time. And I feel like Metroid Fusion, and indeed Super Metroid as well, I will say, definitely stands the test of time when it comes to quality. However, there are some things about Metroid Fusion, improvements that were made, that make Super Metroid a little bit archaic, a little bit clunky at times. I feel like we've already talked about the tutorials hidden in plain sight. For the most part, they're okay, but sometimes they can really scupper new players who don't know what to expect when it comes to Super Metroid. And I feel like they could be, maybe a little less kind of oblique and hidden. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed my time with it. I managed to get... how many bosses did I kill? I killed 5 bosses, and I had about 53% of my equipment. Most of that was fucking missiles. So many missile pickups. And unfortunately, I missed one pickup very early on, which really would have helped me. Markman showed me. Well, I watched his afterwards, and if I just got that one, which was hidden in like a wall somewhere in a regular room. It wasn't even like one of these special rooms you go into. It was just in some random wall where usually you'd shoot and you'd find a missile. Except that was like a really important power-up. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was very important. But I did get to the sunken ship, like I said. I managed to kill 5 bosses. I was quite happy with that. And I would like to go back and complete Super Metroid Vanilla, because I've never done it. And this definitely kind of like reminded me how good it is. So, yeah, I had a good time. I don't feel like I struggled an awful lot, except, there were a couple of times... soft locking was a real issue that we had this time. Markman pointed out one room in particular where if you didn't go in with super missiles, you would be kind of screwed. So I reached that room, and I turned around and I said, hey, guess what? Now I've got to go and find super missiles. And it was in the last place that I looked. Seriously, I went everywhere else and checked nearly everything else, and I was struggling. And then, because I've never played Super Metroid to the point where you get the space jump, I didn't even know that the space jump was a thing until a couple of times where I was getting particularly annoyed and I was trying to jump quickly up a chamber or something. I did like a double jump, and I was like, wait, I didn't think I had a double jump. And then I kind of experimented with it. I was like, the timing's a bit weird, but I think I can get this. And then I realised that you could literally travel from one end of a room to another end of the room, going bonk, bonk, bonk through the air. And that was a game changer. That's when I found the super missiles and managed to proceed onwards. But they were really hit. But yeah, that was my experience with it. I had a good time. How was it for you, Mr. Matt?
Well, as you ended up saying, I didn't end up getting a chance to play the vanilla game again beforehand. I didn't get a chance to end up sitting down and putting in a lot of time with that one, which was detrimental. I did have a map actually open. I ended up having a full map. I think I even showed it on stream. I showed my screen where it showed the map, but because of the size of it, it became a little bit difficult to actually see what the hell was going on with that. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, the soft locks, I had 2 soft locks that happened. One in trying to go and get a save room, and I couldn't get back out the save room. So, yep, that was great. And then the other one that was the Markman soft lock, and I was like, well, if I'm already soft locked in this room, I might as well proceed on into the next room. And it's like, no, that's the soft lock room. The room before it, you can escape. And I was like, oh. So that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, didn't find the super missiles. Was absolutely distraught about not finding those, because if I found those, I have a sneaking suspicion I would have done a lot better, and it would have been absolutely fine. Even with my 2 hours, I have a sneaking suspicion it would have been a little bit better. There would have been a bit more of a challenge I would have put up. But as a result, I've ended up dropping down a position on the overall leaderboard, all because of Super Metroid. Cheers, Samus.
It was a real bottleneck, that room, that first It's not technically the first boss, because I think we were saying that Ridley was technically the first boss in the intro prologue. But yeah, the second boss, that weird plant thing that opens up and you got to shoot it with missiles in the middle. That was a real bottleneck, and like honestly, if I just worked out what it was I did need to do sooner, I think I would have gone much farther as well. I think it was still at the 2-hour mark or 3-hour mark. I was still in that place, trying to get through. So, absolutely. It was also really fun, I will say, to watch your playthrough of it, because unfortunately, when it comes to these games, we all tend to, well, most of us tend to stream our progress online while we're playing them. And that's really enjoyable, it's really fun to see other people play, but obviously there is a certain aspect where you pick up information. You can't help but do it when you're watching someone else, streaming their game. And when it comes to these randomizers, I guess, a big part of the appeal is not knowing what's coming up and how to deal with it. And so there are some things like I happened to catch a little bit of, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but someone who played Spelunky. I don't think I really learned anything about Spelunky I didn't already know. But when it comes to things like this, I guess it must be a sliding scale. You agree? About like there are some things really, if you see a little bit of it, it's not really going to do much damage. But there are other things that obviously have a much bigger impact. So it was nice to watch you play Super Metroid Randomizer, because at that point I'd finished my own submission, so I couldn't.
You were free, whilst every time it's time for you to do a randomizer, it's like, oh, hi Garlips, bye Garlips, I can't actually be in the stream anymore, I've got to go.
It is unfortunate that it works out that way, yeah.
But that's just part of the joy of a randomizer. It's a great shame that we can't do our submissions at the exact same time, and then it's just a case of we don't need to worry about that, like, crossing over information, because we're just going at the same time. But that also means that we can't actually see what the other one's doing, so it's pointless endeavour. I don't even know why I said it. Why'd you let me say that one, Garlips?
Because, look, don't worry, I'll edit out all the mistakes, I promise. Okay, so next up is our expert breakdown of this week's table. Mr. Matt, could you please read the intro for this section?
Absolutely. It's that time where we look at how things all shook out. Yes, it's time for the Professional Analysts.
Are you sure that's how that word is pronounced?
I'm afraid we only have enough data storage for one take, but I'm pretty confident. In first place, we've got Markman59, who completed it in a total time of 2 hours and 53 minutes and 11 seconds. Bosses 10, equipment 80. Second place, we've got Full Cup, who ended up getting 8 bosses done with 73 pieces of equipment. In third place, Tom the Wizard, who ended up having 6 bosses taken down and 66 pieces of equipment. Fuchsia comes in at fourth with 6 bosses defeated and 42 pieces of equipment. The meaning of life, the universe, and everything in it. In fifth place, Kylo who ended up getting a very spooky 5 bosses defeated with 55 pieces of equipment. All the 5s there from Kylo. In sixth place, we have the main man, Garlips, who ended up having 5 bosses completed and 53 pieces of equipment. In seventh place, Return of Octobot, Star, who ended up having 3 bosses defeated and 28 pieces of equipment. But also in 7th place, a rare joint 7th place, 16-bit Hyper Turbo, who also ended up having 3 bosses and 28 pieces of equipment. In 9th place, it's the mighty Decky F, who ended up having 2 bosses taken down and 25 pieces of equipment. In 10th place, Tater84, with 2 bosses and 9 pieces of equipment. In 11th place, it's that Mr. Matt Internet Guy, with 1 boss done and 14 pieces of equipment. And in 12th place, it's Stormfeather, with 1 boss and 9 pieces of equipment. And that is the table for Super Metroid Randomizer.
Fantastic. I mean, Markman, as usual, dominating the field. His submission as well. Interestingly enough, Markman was telling us that his original submission was actually Super Metroid Randomizer / Zelda Randomizer.
Yeah, A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I believe the council left that part off. Which, to be fair, it is incredibly complicated, and we already kind of struggled with things just as if they were. But maybe in the future, we'll see the two appear together.
Well,
Maybe.
it's a very, very interesting like randomizer because of the fact that dungeon entrances can take you through to the other game. So if you end up going to certain places, it will take you across into the other game and vice versa. Like there are crossover points. And you can find some equipment and gear in one game that will end up affecting the other game.
That does sound fun.
It is a lot of fun. I've seen it run at GDQ before, and it looks like a blast. Absolute fun. Mayhem, craziness. There was a hotfix as well, where I ended up bringing up another randomizer that I'd like to see in the future, which is the Sonic Ring Randomizer.
Yes, I've heard you mention this.
Every single ring you pick up can change which Sonic the Hedgehog title you're playing. So it just seems like an absolute nightmare in the middle of a boss fight. Or even a special stage if you happen to end up accidentally going in there.
Oh god, yeah, I can only imagine. So the table is, well, you know, the usual suspects populate the table. It's of course nice to see Full Cup continuing their SNES domination. Did Full Cup win the Starwing?
I believe
Submission?
so. If not, then we're going to end up having another corrections for our Corrections Corner!
Oh, is it corrections time already?
It is. I think we should probably just pop the corrections in now. We'll get the Corrections Corner out of the way. So I just want to end up addressing something quickly. In the previous edition, I ended up explaining that there wasn't a return of Season 3 Legends. That was incorrect. I shouldn't have said that. In fact, Sonic a Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles was the return of a Season 3 Legend. So I apologise for any confusion that that may have ended up causing.
And of course, this means that the ever-present risk of Starwing returning is a bigger threat than we initially realised.
Somehow, Starwing returned. Right, so I think that's it for Corrections Corner. If you do end up listening to us or watching us, and there's something that we end up getting wrong on our part, please do let us know. Please leave a comment or anything along those sorts of lines underneath, or get out of the house and just go touch some grass, or go and send us a message. Either one works, and we'll be happy to end up assisting you further. Can you tell I botched it a little bit there and ended up saying touch grass?
Could you imagine if this week's struggle was to go out and touch grass? I don't think I'd submit. But that brings us very nicely, in absolutely no way whatsoever, into Haiku Corner for this week. So, of course, the calming Zen vibes return, and we now are going to bring it down a notch, and we're going to entertain you with our thoughtful, thought-provoking, deep, and quite atmospheric poetry. So, Mr. Matt, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, just wrap it on up. I'm going to take this away. Don't worry about giving me knives and forks. I've got those at home. I'm going to tuck in right now.
Would you like a little bit of burger sauce on your haiku?
I would love a bit of burger sauce on my haiku. If you could also give me one of those sachets of mayonnaise, I'd love that as well. Cheers, mate.
Sure thing, boss.
Exploring Zebes. Samus battles Mother Brain. Escape in the end.
Ooh. So you've gone for a full synoptic haiku here, covering the entire breadth of the game from start to finish. That's incredible for only 575 syllables.
We did it. We did it.
Unfortunately, Markman is the only one who did it.
Yeah, that's
true. The rest
true,
of us
actually.
will have to lean into the haiku.
Yeah, we will have to end up living vicariously through the haiku, unfortunately, in this occasion. But, Garlips, I do believe your takeout order is ready. Do you want to go and collect that haiku?
I would love to deliver you my haiku. That's what I would like to. I'm the delivery boy, and this one is hot and ready. And if I don't get it to you in 10 minutes, you get your money back. So I'm going to make sure I do.
It's haiku eats time.
It is. And pull yourself up a plate, a knife, and a fork, which no one ever does with takeaway pizza, as I read you my haiku. I am Space Lady. Just beyond Softlock Chamber. Oh look, it's missiles. Time rapidly ends. Just a little more progress. Oh look, it's missiles. Did I mention that there were a few missile pickups in the game? Is this thing on? There were a few missile pickups in this game.
There were
Just
a
a
few
few.
missiles. I mean, there were 1 or 2 missiles that would end up appearing, and I was delighted to see them. I would have loved to have seen bombs at some point.
So I made it to original normal bombs eventually, but it was such a fucking toothache because my god, like we had 5 power bombs at the start. You all remember? We all did this.
Yep.
We had 5 power bombs, and that was it. And if you didn't kill very
Specific.
if you didn't kill very specific enemies with very specific drop rates, you weren't gonna get any power bomb replacements. And if you went just a little too far and you didn't have a bomb to get back, you fell afoul of that, Mr. Matt. So did I, in a completely different place.
Oh, wonderful.
Sometimes with these randomizers, I think you mentioned earlier on, there's an option where kind of the inherent inbuilt logic of the randomizer accounts for the fact that certain rooms or certain things will be completely impossible if you don't receive a certain power-up first. For instance, in this run, everyone got the morph ball first, because if you don't get the morph ball, you don't get anything else, basically. I wish that safeness had extended to bombs.
Yeah. That I would have preferred to have gotten super bombs a little bit later if I could have the normal bombs first. Because at least those would have replenished a little bit faster and a little bit more readily. But no, stuff you. We're just going to end up stuffing you over completely. Joys.
It wasn't meant to be. But, I mean, that's why it's called a struggle.
It is. It's not the wheel of pleasantness. It's not, the wheel of enjoyment. Very much the struggle is wheel.
It is! He said the thing!
I said the title of the show.
That's incredible. That's going in the advert and everything.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's perfect.
No notes,
notes.
right? Cool. Well, I'll see you later, Garlips. Have a great day, mate. Bye for now.
Yes. But just before you go, Mr. Matt.
Oh, okay.
We will. We've got to do this thing called an outro.
Oh.
It's boring. It's tedious. You know, it's just checking boxes.
Mate, I just delivered you one right there. Just like the haiku, I delivered it to you, and I delivered you the outro right there. That's it. I'm gone. All right.
Oh shit! All right. Well, see you later. Bye.
Wait a minute. Are you glued to your seat as well? I've been trying to leave for like half an hour now, and I've not been able to leave because of the glue.
Oh my god. Maybe we can use the podcast to send help. Hang on. I'll tap out Morse code with my forehead.
Oh, okay. Well, you do still have access to your hands. I mean, like, you could have just used your hands.
No, now they're stuck too.
Oh no! Why did you put your hands down like that?
This is a comedy of errors.
But like, so if you'd like to end up trying to help us out, please, before the next one comes out, just to give us some feedback, maybe a like, subscribe. That would be wonderful. It might, if you end up subscribing or putting a like or a comment, that might help dissolve the glue that's keeping us stuck to these chairs. That would be wonderful if you could do that.
A life is in your hands. Comment now.
Oh, we're screwed.
We are so screwed.
Every day I'm struggling. Every day I'm struggling.
Mr. Matt, could you please read the intro for this section?
Absolutely, it's this. Absolutely, it's that time where we look at how. Absolutely, it's that time where we look at how things all shook out. Yes, it's time for the Professional Analysts.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That should say professional. Typo.
all
You have
good.
to do it again.
Yep, it's all good, it's all good. Absolutely, it's that time where we look at how things all shook out. Yes, it's time for the Professional Analysts.
Are you sure that's how that word is pronounced?
I'm afraid we only have enough data storage for one take, but I'm pretty confident. The fucking irony of it. The irony of it.
It took so many takes. This bit will be in the end bit. Hello, everybody. It's the end bit.
Hi. like 2 of those botches were on me, and one of those takes was definitely your fault. So
Yep.
the
So
bloody-
currently, you know, I'm winning.
right. So
But it sounds like chaotic randomness.
what? No. Garlips, you got that wrong there. His name is Miles Tails per hour, and they were called Chaotix. It's not chaotic. Right. I can see how you
Right.
made the mistake, but
And I call myself a Sonic fan. I only have 411 pieces of Sonic merchandise.
Oh.
I'm letting the side down.
well, you're gonna have to end up getting those Sonic ears, you know.
I would love some Sonic ears.
Really? Wow. To be fair, actually, I would as well. I would like to end up getting a gold ring on my ring piece. But anyways,
Enough about that. That's a very specific, very, very cultured piece of Sonic merchandise.
well, it's to facilitate the ability to end up squeezing stuff out of the special zone.
Exactly. Oh my god.
He's gonna have so much great content for the end of the show. It's gonna be great.
Welcome to the end bit, guys. We've got a gold ring on us. Anyway,
Cool.
cool. All right. Well, I have to pop off and make dinner, and
Oh.
it's fucking hot in here as well. So I'm gonna run. But hang on, I need to stop.
So do I. Right, I'm gonna stop recording now. Bye.